Okay, so this is a story about during the pandemic, my computer broke, and this is the break I got was my mother stepped in and bought me a new computer. And this is just sort of the preamble to how that happened. It's called Sandy on the Loose. My mother has gone a little weird, mostly since she left Randy, leaving him for some old man named Domingo who she said was a millionaire. Some kind of millionaire he must be, shacking up with my mother. Or maybe it was even before that. She was probably already pretty weird back when she started telling me about how she had another apartment that no one else knew about. It was in another city, and she'd drive there just to get away from Randy for a few hours. Go there to sit with her back against the wall and listen to the radio. There isn't even any furniture here, she'd tell me over the phone from this secret place. In the summer, I can sit on the balcony and listen to my music, but when it gets cold out, I've got to sit inside on the floor like a dog. Then she'd tell me that's where she was right now, on the floor while she was talking to me, and she'd start to laugh hysterically. Or could the weirdness have started before this? I think it might have. Maybe beginning as far back as when her mother died, and all those psychics kept showing at her house. Back when she was taking endless pictures of all that cigarette smoke crowding the corners of her living room, if only to prove there really were ghosts to be seen in it. Sometimes of her dead mother, sometimes of Native Americans. You see him? Right there, wearing that headband with a feather. Can you see it? Do you see it? She would tell me this ghost must have been sent from ancient burial grounds by her mother to keep her safe. And if I said I could see him too, at least sort of, she would always look relieved. I miss my mother so much, David. I feel so alone. But I would never think too much of any of this, and it just seemed like harmless grief until my brother told me about the time she jumped out of her car in the middle of the highway. Said she had run off into a storm of feathers, thousands of them pouring from the back of an overturned truck full of busted mattresses, trying to get to them before they blew away in the wind and the rush of traffic. How we'd watched our mother waving her arms around, collecting as many as she could, stuffing them into her pockets as cars swerved all around her. Her psychic told her to watch out for feathers, my brother explained when he could tell what I was about to ask next. How they're a sign Grandma is thinking of her up in heaven. I sometimes think of my mother out there on that highway, grabbing at her mother's spirit, fluttering in the stink of all that diesel and hot sun and chrome, and realize she's been sort of gone since way back then. Maybe even longer by the way my brother shakes his head when I say if that was a moment when she started getting bad, if that's when he noticed something was wrong. Fuck, dude, you're so lucky you weren't raised by her, he tells me. She's always been like this. She's always been nuts. She sucks. And so this morning when I talked to my mother on the phone for the first time in a long time, standing outside next to the mailbox, she talks and talks and talks. I already know she's been weird for a while now. Don't worry about it much, and I'm able to continue nodding my head along to her voice, no matter what she is telling me, because it's all I can expect to hear from someone like Sandy. Things like how she's begun to worry about her cat is reading her mind and thinks she's evil, or how she can no longer completely trust who is or isn't a lizard, or why she hates all her old friends for mysterious reasons I'll never quite understand. I just keep nodding my head as she tells me now how she wants me to write her life story, how she has lots of secrets, that she's going to take the whole corrupt system down, all of it, starting with the government, and that I should interview her and keep track of everything she says, just in case she suddenly dies. Just let me know if you need anything from me so you can do this, as she says, assuring me there are no limits and I can ask for anything. Computers, printers, tape recorders. You know Domingo's a millionaire, right? I tell her I do know this, that I'll think about it, get off the phone and go back inside with my handful of pizza flyers, likely to have completely forgotten about her promise if it wasn't for the laptop that arrives in a box at my door a few days later. A perfect place for me to jot down a reminder that even though my mother has gone weird, she is trying. And that maybe now, if only I turn this thing on, start writing, I can begin to try and figure out where it all went wrong. Thank you.
That's absolutely fascinating. I want to ask a question carefully. I'm not making I'm not making fun of what you said.
Yeah.
She was taking pictures of smoke. Did she do anything with the pictures? I mean, did she print them and put them up in her walls? Or
it was like one of those Facebook things. She would take all these pictures, and it would be like you'd see the shoulder of someone, and then a bunch of smoke, and she'd be like, see, and it would just sort of be seeing sort of a Rorschach test to sort of see, oh, maybe there's a face in there, and maybe whatever she wanted to see.
And again, I'm not trying to ask something painful.
No, yeah.
The psychics. I've known a handful of people who are convinced they're psychic, who will give readings and they will not take money. They believe it's immoral.
Yeah.
And I have run into a couple of all out, these guys are money grubbing and horrible. What type did your mother hit?
Well, I never actually met the psychics, but the stories I told were she was giving them all their money for crystals and little
for
things.
God's sake.
But then there's the issue is like the feather story was true, and the day that all these mattress feathers came across the highway, the psychic did say, look for feathers hours before that happened. So that's the story.
That's the weirdest karma I've heard of.
Yeah. Cool.